Hi, we're going to learn about 3D figures for this unit. 3D figures are, there are different figures. We're going to look at prisms. Prism is a 3D shape, three-dimensional shape, with two congruent top, bottom, parallel bases, top, bottom, they're parallel to each other, that are polygons. The other faces are almost always all rectangles or all rhombi. So right here, if you look at this pentagonal prism, the base is pentagon, so we call that pentagonal prism. What makes a prism? You have rectangles around. So these are called bases. You have two congruent bases, top, bottom, they're parallel to each other. Right here, this is triangular prism. You have a triangle on the top, triangle on the bottom. Those are bases. And then right here, this right here is called lateral edges. Lateral means side. And the lateral faces, right here, this side, you see this cream or beige shaded area, that's called lateral faces. The lateral means side, okay? Now, if I put it this sideways, it will look like this and this. So here, I will have the bases here, and then this will be lateral. If I put it sideways, the pentagon will be here and the base is there. So this is the height. The height will be this side right here. Even though it actually, the height is not this one, it's this side. Lateral edges will be the height. So even though it's a sideways. So that will be, this will be the height, okay? Need to mention that. So right here, I want you to put a highlighter, draw with a highlighter or draw a line and write H. This will be the height. This will be the height. Can you highlight this? Or write, and then write H. And then if it's sideways, still this side and this side, those will be the heights. Okay? So the height of the prism is the value that connects the bases. So it's the value that connects the top, bottom bases. It's the value that connects top, bottom bases. So it's the value, this is the line. The value means the line that connects these two bases, even though it's sideways. If this connects the top, bottom bases, that is considered the height. Okay? Prisms are always named by the shape of the base. So if your bases, congruent bases are pentagon, you say pentagonal prism. If it's triangle, it's triangular prism. If it's hexagon, it's a hexagonal prism. Okay? And then if it's rectangle, it's rectangular prism. Alright, so let's take a look at more 3D figures. We'll also work with pyramids, cones, cylinders, and spheres. Pyramids are also always named by the shape of the base. So right here, you have base, which is hexagon. So this is hexagonal pyramid. This is the base. This is the vertex. This is the lateral face. These are lateral edge. The altitude is inside. So altitude is 90 from the vertex inside the perpendicular to the base. And this is the base edge. Square pyramid, also because this is a square, we call this square pyramid. You have the height that is perpendicular to the base inside. But right here, you see this L. And then also this side. That's called slant height. And the formula sheet has this. L is for slant height. That is the slant height. It could be this or it could be this, okay? So right here, you have a cone. Base is a circle. You have a height, which is perpendicular to the base, 90 degree. That's called the altitude. And then you have a vertex. And this right here is called the slant height. Cylinder has two bases and the height. So height is the line that connects two bases. If you put it sideways, still this is the height because this height connects these two bases. This is a sphere. Sphere has a radius inside and we'll just work with the radius. So these are different 3D shapes. You need to know slant height for L because that's on the formula sheet. Definitely that's new. So volume of 3D figure. What is volume? The number of cubic units contained in a solid's interior. So interior means inside. How much 3D cubic can fit inside? So how much a 3D figure can hold That's a keyword. Hold, okay? Inside, okay? So volume key formula, this is on your formula sheet. Rectangular prism is volume is length times width times height. Triangular or other polygon prism is volume is base times height. So this capital B means area of the base. So if your area of the base is a triangle, then you need to use a triangle formula, which is on your formula sheet, half times base times height. If it's a square, then you do length times width. If it's a rectangle, you do length times width. So this capital B is base area times height. So the height, the value connecting the bases, so H is the line that connects the bases. The pyramid, the volume is 1/3 times base times height. This is the base area. Cylinder is, volume is pi r squared H. So these are all on your formula sheet. And then volume is 1/3 pi r squared H. Sphere is, volume is 4/3 pi r to the third power. So let's find the volume. This is the width, this is the length, this is the height. So what I actually want you to do every time is label W, L, H next to each measurement. And then you plug it into the formula. You use your calculator. 5/3/8 is 120. That's cubic inches. When we do volume, we multiply three things, so that's cubic inches. Also, we put how many cubes can hold inside. That's why we use cubic for volume. Let's look at rectangular prism. First thing I need you to write is V equals B times H. It's from the formula sheet, which I gave you with the notes. And then base area is half times base times height. Base is triangle. So 4 times 3 divided by 2 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. So that's 12 cubic centimeters. After you get that, you're going to multiply that by 2, which is 6. Half is the same thing as 0.5. So 0.5 times 4 times 3 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. So the volume is area of the base times height, which is what we did, 12 cubic centimeters. Let's take a look at cylinder. Cylinder, if you look at the formula sheet, the volume is pi r squared H. So what you're going to do is pi, just keep it. R squared, radius is 8. A squared is 64. Height is 6. Multiply. And what I want you to do is 64 times 6, 384. And press pi afterwards on the calculator. Do not multiply by 3.14. And then you're going to get 12.0, so 1206.37 cubic inches. So do not use multiply by 3.14. From now on, you just put pi, or you're going to hit pi on the calculator. Let's find the volume of a cone. Let's always write the formula first. Volume equals 1/3 pi r squared H. R is 12.4, so we're going to plug that in. H is 17.7, we're going to plug that in. So we're going to do 1/3 times this, do this first, and then we're going to hit pi divided by 3. So why don't you do 12.4 squared times 17.7, and then hit pi divided by 3. You will get, if you just leave it in terms of pi, you just have to don't press pi, just write pi, 907.18 pi. Otherwise, you just press pi after you type this, you get this number. Okay, so write both. So this is in terms of pi, where they don't want you to use pi button. This is when you use the pi button. And I did that for this one too. In terms of pi means you just multiply all the numbers but leave pi at the end. Or if you just solve everything, then you just hit it, and then this will solve all the way through. Same thing here. I did the same thing here. So write both answers. Okay. Alright, so let's look at square pyramid now. So the square pyramid, you're going to write down the formula, and you need to write square because this is a square. S 300 feet, and you need to write square pyramid. They give you side. And then I want you to write volume equals 1/3 base area times height. So we're going to do 300 times 300 right here, the square is s squared, which is also on your formula sheet, which is 90,000. And then you're going to multiply that by the height, which is 321 divided by 3. When you do that, you will get 9,630,000 cubic feet. So that's 9,630,000 cubic feet. When you do sphere, you're going to write sphere here. You're going to write V equals 4/3 pi r to the third power. So here the radius is 2. So 2 to the third power is 8. So do that first. And then you're going to do 4 times 8 is 32 divided by 3. 32 divided by 3 is 10 2/3, because 3 can go into 32 10 times. 2 2/3. And just write pi. Or if you type this in and hit pi, then you're going to, or you can just write 10.67 pi. You can write this, or hit pi after 10.67, after you round, hit pi, then you can write 33.51 cubic inches. So write all of these, okay? So you can write this, the same thing, or this. So if you are asked to leave in your answer in terms of pi, you just do the math part and just put the pi. But if you have to solve everything, then you just hit pi on your calculator, and that's the answer. Here you have hexagonal prism, because you have a hexagon here. Prism, because you have lateral sides, the sides are called lateral, are rectangles. The height is 17, because it is a line that connects two bases. You have top base, bottom base. So please write H next to 17. And then we're going to do the base area. So the base area of a hexagon, because this is a regular hexagon, is going to be half times A times P. So half times, that is a formula for regular hexagon. So how do you find A? If I draw a triangle, like this is the base I drew right here. And if I draw a triangle, it's going to be 6 on the bottom. And then half of 6 is 3, 3. And then this right here is 3 radical 3. So that's going to be 60-degree angle. So 3 radical 3 is your A. So half times 3 radical 3 times 6 times 6, because that's the perimeter, is 36 around. That's going to be half times 3 radical 3 times 36. You have to multiply whole number. This 3 is a whole number. So 3 times 36 is 108 divided by 2 or multiply by half. That's 54. So you just work with the whole numbers, and this radical is not like term as a whole number, so you bring it down. So 54 radical 3 is your base area of this regular hexagon, using half times A times P, and then times 17, which is the height. So you're going to also only combine like terms, whole numbers. 54 times 17 is 918. This one you cannot combine, so you just write it down. So this will be the volume for hexagonal prism. Let's find the volume of hexagonal pyramid. So we're going to write volume is 1/3 times base area times height. Height is 4. We just have to find the base area. You see these marks? That tells you that it's a regular hexagon. So the perimeter is 3 by 6, which is 18. We just have to find A. So half of 3 is 3 over 2, 3 over 2. So this length is 3 radical 3 over 2. So that is your A. So you're going to do half times 3 radical 3 over 2 times 18. And then 3 times 18 is 54. And then multiply half, that's 27. So write 27 radical 3. And you have this 2 carry it down. That is your A, and multiply these 3, and then you get 18 radical 3, because 3 can go into 27, 9. 2 can go into 4 twice. Radical, you cannot combine, so it's just 18 radical 3. Let's take a look at this one. You have x, x, x. There's length times width times height is the volume. So x times x times x is x to the third equals 100. You just do cube root of 100 to find the x, because you're solving for x. And it's if you type this on the calculator, you get about 4.64 feet. So that is the answer for x. You just do cube root of this and put like 100 to